Hello and welcome to the next video. First of all, make sure you're connected to the lab. After you're connected to the lab, go ahead and visit your generated IP address in your browser. You should see something like this. We see the Compute Enforcement Agency. Now, there's a lot of text on here, and there's a lot of different stuff we could try to enumerate. For example, we see a form here. We could try to see where this form goes to. For the sake of time, I'm going to lead you to the vulnerable parts of the website. We're going to start at the login page. Well, actually, on the home page, we can see, for example, posted by James, posted by Elena. If we go to the login page and we try to log in as James, and I'm going to say blah, 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 because we don't know the password. We can see access denied, right? Incorrect passphrase. If we log in as a random user, we can see a different error message. This error message sends a different amount of characters in the reply. So a user that doesn't exist gets this reply, and a user that does exist gets a different reply. We can use that discrepancy in order to locate which users are valid by comparing against an existing username list. So what list should we use? We're going to use from seclists the names.txt. Here's the download link if you need it. You can probably Google seclists names.txt to get it also. One thing you want to make sure is that it has the same MD5 sum. This is how you can verify that it's the same file. If the MD5 sum is different, then it's a different file. Another thing I like to do. By default in Kali, your rocku.txt needs to be unzipped. Inside USR share word lists, you'll see rocku.txt.gz. Make sure you unzip it if you haven't already. After that's done, you'll see it as a text file. I like to move my rocku to root, so that way I can easily call it with tools. Names.txt I also move to root. We can see here ls/. In my root, I have the two text files, names.txt and rocku.txt. Okay, let's begin with our password fuzzing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to intercept a login request. We can flip on our Foxy proxy. We can open burp and make sure intercept is on. And then we can authenticate and we see the request. We can send this to the repeater. Okay, we can see the login request is going to /API/login. And we can see these two form fields. We're going to use a tool called wfuzz. The -d value is the post body data, which we can grab right here. We're telling it to use names.txt. And we're saying it's in our root directory. We're giving it content type application JSON, one of the headers on line 8. And we can see we need to specify the URL. Our URL is different. We're not on port 8000. We are 393.195.103. Okay, great. Now, the first thing we're going to see is a bunch of login requests. Now, all of these usernames, right, they probably don't exist. So the error message that a user doesn't exist replies back with 127 characters. This message here that we had a moment ago, where it says user not found or something like that, the total page replies back with 127 characters. So what we can do is we can filter 127 And now we'll only see the responses that show something different than 127. Notice here we put the fuzz in the username place. That's because that's the position we want to iterate through using our text file here. We found a username. In real life, we would let this tool keep going until the end, but for the sake of the video, Alex is the only name we needed. Let's try logging in as Alex. I don't know his password. I'm going to guess password. And no luck. So earlier we fuzzed usernames. Next, we can turn around and fuzz the password. We're going to remove the HH value, and we're going to swap the fuzz position. Now we're fuzzing the password. And it's the username that's going to be the same every time. And instead of names.txt, we're going to use rocku.txt. So only one password will be valid. So presumably, if a password is wrong, but the user is valid, it shows 125 characters. So this time, we're going to filter 125. And we got it, Coca-Cola. Let's try logging in. We logged in. Now, after we logged in, we can see a new dashboard, and there's a lot of stuff on here. If we were doing this box blind, we would have a bunch of stuff to look into, but again, I'm going to steer you to the solution. Now that we're logged in the compliance form, we can now see different forms and documents. For example, this zip. Let's download the zip. Here's a pro tip. You see these other files and it says they're PDFs? If you look in the bottom left, you see the pound sign or hashtag. That means these links don't go anywhere. So we downloaded a file. We see the download. Let's move it to the boxes folder. Now let's unzip this zip. And it's asking for a password, which we don't have. We can try Alex's password because password reuse is something you should always check for. But no luck. Thankfully, we're hackers, so this will not stop us. We can try to crack the zip. We can use a tool called John for this. We're going to use zip2john, and we're going to convert the zip into a hash file. It's going to extract just the password hash. Now that we have the password hash, we can crack it with John, and we're going to call the rocku.txt word list. Boom, butterfly 2. Let's unzip it. Excellent. Looks like we have a text file. Let's take a look. And we found the flag. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.